What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at a new Bluetooth speaker. This is the Tronsmart MirTune H1. Taking a look at some of the specs, this has 8 watts of power, a waterproof IPX7 rating, up to 20 hours of battery life, and is very lightweight at only 260 grams. So taking a look inside the box, you have the user manual, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, and then last but not least, you have the actual speaker itself. So taking a look at the speaker itself, this is definitely a nice looking little speaker. It also feels very well made in your hand as well. That's one thing I really like about Tronsmart speakers. I own quite a few of them that I bought over the years, and despite being affordable, they're usually very well made speakers that sound good as well. Like honestly, this feels just as good as any other JBL speakers, despite JBL charging probably 4 to 5 times what this one costs. So taking a look at the front, right here, it's all fabric, and they say this is a recycled fabric material as well. You have 3 buttons up here, so you have your volume down and track back, play and pause, and then volume up and track forward. Coming to the bottom, you have your USB-C charging port. There's no auxiliary port, but honestly, I haven't used an auxiliary port on any small speaker in several years. So honestly, that's okay with me. With bigger speakers, that's where I like to use that to get a little more audio quality out of it. But for something like this that I'm just hanging up somewhere or putting on my bike, I'm not too concerned about having a wire running to it. Coming up to the top, you have a nice carabiner built into the speaker, and this also feels very well made. I love how big it is inside here, as I had another speaker with a carabiner and it was so small that it kind of defeated the purpose. But as you can see right here, you have a lot of room, so you're going to be able to hang this on a lot more things. So you can clip this onto the front of your bike, on your bike bag, your bike rack, your belt buckle, any cord or hook outside your house. And this is a waterproof speaker, so if you want it, you could also hook it onto your shower rod or shower curtain and use it as a shower speaker as well. As I said earlier, this feels like a very well-made speaker. I feel like you can drop this and it's going to take a beating no problem. It just has that well-made and solid feel to it. Again, it has a nice heft to it, which is always a good thing with speakers, but it's also not that heavy as it only weighs 260 grams, which is about 9 ounces, so a little over half a pound. When it comes to the waterproof abilities, this is an IPX7 waterproof speaker, which means it can be submerged in 1 meter of water for up to 30 minutes. So if you're outdoors riding your bike, running, whatever it might be, and it starts snowing or raining, that's not going to be a problem at all. You could even hose this down, that's going to do nothing. And like I just said, you can submerge this into water as well. So if you're at a pool party or something, you can just throw this into the water and that's also not going to affect the speaker. When it comes to the audio, this is a 8-watt speaker. Right here in the middle, you have a full range driver, and then this also has a passive radiator as well. Looking at the specs, it says this can play from 70 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Given how small the speaker is, you'll be crazy to think it would have any kind of deep bass output. But if it can play 70 hertz, that should give you a good bass response, especially for a speaker of this size. Another good feature about this speaker is it also has a built-in microphone. I have a similar small speaker like this from another company, but it doesn't have a microphone. So whenever I answer a call, I need to disconnect from it. But with this one, you won't have that issue. If someone calls, you can just answer and talk to them right from the speaker. I did test this out earlier and my wife was able to hear me no problem at all. And her voice also came through on the speaker, very loud and clear as well. Last but not least, when it comes to battery life, this has up to 20 hours of playtime, which is definitely more than enough, especially on a small speaker like this. So for most people with regular listening of a few hours here and there, you would likely be able to go 1 to 2 weeks on this speaker before you have to charge it. Alright, so now that we got all the specifications out of the way, let me go ahead and fire this up so we can see how this sounds. I have not heard the speaker yet, so I'll give you my initial impressions after this clip as well. Alright, so this is the speaker at about 80%. So this speaker does support TWS or True Wireless Stereo. So because of this, I actually picked up 2 speakers, and with the carabiner function, I think this is going to work really well because I can clip one over here by my deck, another one across the yard, and this is going to give you a much better sound, not only louder, but give you a better stereo dispersion. So to hook these together, you simply connect one to your phone, hold down the Bluetooth button, turn this one on, and this speaker will automatically pair with this one, just like that. They are now working as one. So let me go ahead and show you what these sound in TWS mode as well. Oh man, I can already hear these sound so much better in TWS mode. Alright, so I gotta say, I am definitely very impressed with this small speaker. Despite being as small and as light as it is, this thing puts out a very good full sound. Obviously, you're not gonna get room shaking bass or like extra party loud volume, but for what it is, this is definitely a very good speaker. My wife has a similar speaker to this made by JBL, and this absolutely blows that one away in both volume and overall sound. I would say though, if you get this speaker, definitely get a second one as well because it's great on its own. But once you add that second speaker, it just sounds a whole lot better. And one of the main reasons for this is you get to disperse the sound out a lot more. With the regular speaker, it's just one focal point of audio coming out. So the sound sounds a little smaller since it's coming from one spot. But when you add that second speaker, now you have, as the name implies, true wireless stereo. So now you got the sound coming from 2 different spots, and it just sounds like a much larger speaker. And with 2 of them, these are 8 watts each, so you're getting 16 watts. And with both of them combined, it definitely sounds like you're listening to a bigger speaker as well. So yeah, if you get this, definitely 2 of them is the way to go. If you just need some background music, just go ahead and turn on one. That's going to be good. But when you want to have a more full and enjoyable music experience, that's when you can hook up both. And this is just, like I said, very, very good sounding for such small speakers. Even the bass on this is pretty good as well. Again, it's not going to compare to something like a 3 or 4 inch speaker. It's just not possible. With anything audio, there's just no way around. A larger driver is always going to perform better than a small one. But given the size of this, it is definitely a nice and full bass. More than enough to keep the music enjoyable. One thing I didn't mention, but I'll go over it right now, is there's also app connectivity, and there's a few presets in the app. But the 3 presets that I like most is default, sound pulse, and deep bass. I tested a few common songs that I listen to off camera because I can't show those on YouTube. But depending on the music, each equalizer sounded better with different music. But those 3 equalizer settings are definitely my favorite on the app. So looking at the app, this is what it looks like. They have a bunch of different speakers that work with the app, but right now we're on the MearTune H1. So this is what the main page looks like. You have your volume, play, pause, track forward, track back. And then right over here, this is where you have your custom equalizer settings. As I just said, default, sound pulse, and deep bass sounded the best. Default was more of a flat sound. Sound pulse gave it more of a fun V-shaped sound. And then deep bass was just more boosted bass. Despite being a small speaker on deep bass, this actually puts out a lot of bass. But if you're on a really bassy song and you put deep bass, then it just doesn't sound very good. Again, which preset you use depends on what's being played. So I would say just play some music and play around with these and find what sounds best to you. And then beyond that, you can also customize your own EQ as well. So if you have a certain sound that you like, you can go ahead and do that here and make it however you want it to sound right here from the app. So definitely good to have that customization in a speaker. 5-10 years ago, you would just get a speaker and you get what you get. If you don't like how it sounds, it wasn't too bad. But it's very good to see that now speakers are coming with the ability to help you get it to the way you want it to sound as well. And then last but not least, you can also do stereo pairing right here from the app as well. But for me, it's easier to do it on the speakers. So that's the way I do it instead. Overall, this is definitely a solid speaker. It sounds good, especially for its small size. It has a good battery life, and best of all, it's also very affordable as well. So all in all, if you happen to be shopping for a compact Bluetooth speaker, I would highly recommend this one here, which again is the Tronsmart Meartune H1. All right, well, that about wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.